What is up, my thrifty friends? Tabs here from the Urban Goddess shop. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a work with me video. These are my favorite ones. This is where I talk your ear off, everything reseller news related. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about. If you're new to this content, this is the logo you're looking for. This is the work with me. Join the crew, get some work done. If you're new to my channel, I am a Canadian reseller. I'm a mom to 2 girls, a wife. I work part-time in a hospital pharmacy, and I love to sell used clothing. It is my jam here on YouTube, and I share everything about my business, helping you grow a side hustle reselling clothing as well. Okay, we're gonna jump in. We got so many topics. Lots of posh stuff, actually. Lots of things going on still. Every week I'm like, oh, what am I going to talk about? And then I just start remembering all the things that have been happening. And I'm like, okay, we got lots to talk about. Okay, life and business update first. Life, I feel like I'm a bit of a mess. I've been sick for like 4 weeks. I went to the doctor last week. They said I have croup, which is very uncommon in adults. They put me on a bunch of steroids. So I feel like I was improving, but now it's like almost like a sinus infection maybe, and my ear is plugged. I just feel like I'm falling apart at the seams. So yeah, I can breathe better, but now I have this like sinus ear issue right now, and it's driving me nuts. I do think like personal life wise with my mom, some things are starting to change. I have a trip planned to go down there in 2 weeks, and just starting to maybe do some business planning right now and trying to line up my ducks. So I think that's why I feel like a mess right now, is because I just have a lot of thoughts going on. So yeah, lots of stuff I'm planning. I did watch Becky Park's last video where she talked about like taking a break and things like that. And I think it was the perfect video for me to watch because it really hit home into where I'm at right now. And reselling will probably be the first thing I drop, and then I will down my YouTube to some minimum content. I am going to keep putting it out. This is something I can do on my own. It really doesn't take much. I just would like to have some pre-recorded stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at. I feel like I'm a mess. Like there's just so much going on, and I'm not 100%. But that's life, right? That's just how it is sometimes. I will do the best that I can, and I'm okay with the things that I can't do. And I just want you guys to know that you truly lift me up. You truly do. So no matter how tough the next few months get for me, I really look forward to the community and the support there. So I'm not going to dive too deep into this today because yeah, it's been a lot lately. So business wise, we can jump into that. Things have been really good, like really good. $200 short of 6K in gross sales last month, which is really good. I net about 55%. So even after Poshmark fees and my cost of goods, very happy with what's been happening in my business lately. I've been sourcing a ton through thrift stores, which is a change from what I was doing before. I go everywhere, but I was able to get a ton of stuff at like buy sell trades and consignments. But I've really reeled that back and started kind of getting more into thrift store just to knock the cost of goods down. Also, prices are just getting higher and higher, like at consignments and buy sell trades. So yeah, it's kind of like picking through what's worth to grab, what can I make a decent amount of money on, and what is worth my time. But it's falling together. Like, yeah, I'm always analyzing things and changing things week to week, doing lots of product research, searching up comps on a lot of things, like especially the items I pay up on. I think if I was only paying like $3 to $5 an item, I would probably be a little bit more willy-nilly with things. But since I pay up on a good chunk of my inventory, I'm checking comps. And if it doesn't look like it's selling, if it doesn't look like it's current, if it doesn't hold a retail value of probably over $75, I'm just not grabbing it right now. And it has reduced the amount of sourcing that I'm doing, but I'm okay with that. I'm still, like I said, making that profit margin that I want and netting the amount that I want a month. So yeah, business-wise, I'm always tweaking, changing, trying different things. Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of getting the kinks worked out and what works for me, and it's starting to kind of turn into that well-oiled machine that it should be. So yeah, that's it. That's personal life, lots going on, not even diving into it on this video. And business-wise, things are doing really good. So okay, let's just go back to why I feel like a mess, because it's really hard when everything is going so good to know that you have like a massive setback coming soon. So, yeah, that's like when you're like, I don't get it. Why is she such a mess? It's just like the personal life stuff is just, I know everything that's going good right now is about to hit a brick wall. So I think in my head, I'm kind of like struggling with it, you know, to like piece it all together and how it all works out. And I'm like a Virgo. And if you guys haven't found out from following me that I'm a planner, I'm an analyst, I'm always looking at things. I'm always like steps ahead. So I am just, my whole world right now is thrown for a loop, and I will get through this, but yeah, it's been crazy. Okay. I know I say this often, but I'm just not going to cry in this video. It's not happening today, because we got a lot to talk about. Okay, let's jump into some news stuff, okay? I have so many things. Like, I'm scrolling through and I'm just like, oh my gosh, we got lots to talk about. And I just want to say, I really appreciate everyone that shares things with me, that forwards articles, that shares like, you know, things that they read online. If they see something, send me a screenshot. Anytime I talk about something, I like to either have a link to it or like a physical screenshot of, you know, the news release or whatever, just so that I can try and pull my information. I will say I do make mistakes. I made a mistake last time with Poshmark and I said they laid off 800 employees, and that was not true. They laid off 2% of 800, but I skimmed the article. It was my bad. I'm sorry. Sometimes I'm like reading so much stuff and typing up like 2 or 3 pages of notes. I make mistakes. So I do my best to give you guys information. I also always include the link, and I encourage you guys to do independent investigation as well. Okay, so first thing we're going to talk about is the continuation of layoffs and closures. This is happening everywhere in the retail world. I actually also just heard that the RealReal is closing a bunch of stores too, and that they're not turning the profit, which I thought was crazy because I know that's a big part of some people's business models. I don't know if they're still staying open online. Is it just stores they're closing? I don't have those details, and I didn't have a chance to look it up. Feel free to drop in the comments and share with us what you know. But that was another pretty big thing, actually. I'm going to look into it some more, and I'll share it next week. So last week, Nordstrom announced it's closing all Canadian stores and laying off 2,500 employees as it winds down operations in Canada. This is a sad story. It is a very big loss to Canadians. It's one of the best department stores that offers brands that like designer, high quality brands, things that you guys have more access to in the United States. I know this is going to be a loss to some pretty big cities. Nordstrom has brought many options to Canadians, and yeah, I'm just sad to hear this. So they have 6 Nordstrom stores, and they have 7 Nordstrom racks, and all of those will be closing. I also heard that Bed Bath & Beyond is pulling out of Canada, which was another big brand, which I'm quite surprised about. I remember going to Vegas, oh man, it must have been like 18 years ago, and we were with a couple friends, and they were like, let's go into Bed Bath & Beyond, and they were so excited because there was things there that they could buy that they couldn't buy here. And then they came over to Canada not too long after that. but they've had a good run here. I would say most times when I'm in the store, it's not very busy unless they're running like a huge sale, like a Boxing Day sale or something. So yeah, I don't know if they're just not making the sales here in Canada they were hoping for. I did hear that they will be closing all 54 stores in Canada, and they're hiring a third-party liquidator to clear out all their stock. So if you are buying liquidation in Canada, you may get access to a whole lot of Bed Bath & Beyond. And then as well in that article, they said that Bye Bye Baby stores, 11 of those are also closing. I've never heard of Bye Bye Baby. I've never been in one. I don't know what they are, but that's also sad because again, it's just another retail option. The less retail options we have, the more the big retailers that stay here own the market. They can do whatever they want. They can charge what they want. They really like control things. So it is sad when these types of retailers leave. I do think this is also showing a sign of the retail landscape right now, and I expect more closures in the next year. I think the retail, the whole retail market is being affected by inflation. Consumerism is changing. Like there's just so many things changing right now. It's going to be an interesting year in 2023. On to a question. So Think Twice Canada asked a question, and she had messaged me and said, at what point or volume of business did I invest in my Rolo printer? And I just want to state, I love Rolo. I support them. I will talk about them. I will tell anyone about my Rolo. But really, I think this could be put into any type of thermal printer. I do prefer Rolo as a brand. I've used it for 2.5 years. I've had 0 issues. And the only thing I've had to do is buy labels. So I love that. I am not sponsored. I am not affiliated with Rolo. They actually don't work with Canadians, but I just love their product. So yeah, I thought this was a really good question. Her and I had a good discussion, and then I thought, you know what? I need to share this out with everyone because other people may be wondering the same thing. So I'm going to share what I did with my business. Everyone is going to do different things, but this is how I kind of looked at it. When I started selling, I was also working full-time. So my reselling income was like extra money. And I mean, to this day, it still is. I am still working part-time in the hospital, but it's, yeah, I don't rely on it 100% to pay my bills. So I need to throw that out there first. What I did when I first started was I turned most of my profit back into my business. I bought my MacBook Pro, I bought shelving, totes, my Rolo, office printer, like anything I needed, I was turning profit. So as I made money, I would put away money for my income tax, and then I would use those proceeds to invest back into my business. And I probably did this the first year, definitely a lot. And then the second year, it was like investing in other things for my business, but I've continued to invest in my business over the last 3 years. This will actually probably be the first year that I think I won't have any big expenses, that I'm just going to like make profit, put profit in the bank and not have to make any big purchases for my business. But yeah, I think everyone has to do what's right for them. For me, it was a time and cost analysis. I did this right away from the beginning. I was selling more volume, like bins items, and ink for my printer, replacing it every 6 months was about $70 a pop, as well as the time to, you know, print my label, fold it, place it in plastic wrap, and stick it on the package. It was just like multi-steps, right? And then multiply this times 50 orders a week. And to me, it was just so much easier to do the thermal printer. Batch print my labels, stick and slap, right? When you don't use a thermal printer, I think you don't know what you're losing or what you're missing out on. And then when you switch to a thermal printer, you're like, what have I been doing? Why haven't I been using one of these forever? So to me, I think this is something people should invest in right away, as long as you're making enough money to buy it. I mean, if you've made $20 on Poshmark, maybe spending, you know, a couple $100 on a roller printer isn't in the best interest of your business. But if you are, you know, making $500 a month or a couple $100 a month, and you look at it as an investment and it's paid off in a couple months, I do think it's worth it. What I like about it is that you really only buy labels. You don't have to replace the ink. There's no ribbon. Like, you know, I don't know. It's just so hassle free. all I have to do is make sure I have a box of labels ready for when I run out. So I do have a rule that when I get past a certain point, I just order them and then they can sit there until I need them. It made sense very quickly because I went from like selling, you know, a couple of items to just consistently selling items. My business grew relatively quickly, I think. I felt like it did. So yeah, it was pretty easy decision. I do think that you should look at all the different tools that you need for your business, what will save you the most time, and work on efficiency. So for me, what I look at is time is the most valuable commodity. Like, let that sink in. Spend it wisely. If I can save minutes here and there on one single task, multiply that by however many times I do that task, it can really add up over a week, over a month, over a quarter, over a year, right? And that's the way I've broken down my business in various areas. If it's something that will save me time, that will save me energy, I will pay for it and I will invest, because time is the only thing I can't get back. So if I can gain time in different areas, that's cool with me. I'm trying to run my business in the least amount of time and make the most amount of money. That's my ultimate goal. While we're on the topic of efficiency, I felt like this was also a good topic to discuss. I challenge you to pick one area of your business this week or this month and think of a few ways that you could improve your efficiency. So I literally did this for every process in my business. When I first started, I spent the first 5 or 6 months reselling, just picking apart all my processes. I went from storage, inventory, shipping methods, how I had things set up. I know now that my business runs, like I said, like a well-oiled machine. There are small tweaks that I make here and there, but really, like, I'm happy with how everything works. I work very efficiently in all areas, and the only way I'm not efficient is when I'm on my phone. That is literally like my biggest setback right now, is just staying off my phone, not doing, you know, personal stuff while I'm in my work hours. But I feel like when you can start addressing the different processes in your business and treat it like a standard work, like if you had to train someone, how could you train them to do the job? And then what areas do you think that you're wasting time or motions or whatever, right? And the other thing I did is I would Google and watch videos on how to set up a workplace for efficiency. Like, I'm strange like that. Like, to me, it's all about like, how best can I work and get the most amount of results, like max results. That's what I want. I want you to start with the bones of your business, where you feel you waste the most time. And if there's something I can help with, drop it down below in the comments. I'm happy to brainstorm with you guys or share things that are working in my business, and maybe there's small tweaks that you can do in yours. I don't have a large amount of inventory either, so I run about 350 to 450 active listings. So I know a lot of times people assume that I have like a large closet and I have 1,500 active listings. I don't. I run these processes on a pretty small closet, I think. And yeah, if you haven't checked out my inventory video, I'm gonna pop it up here. It is old and I apologize. I need to redo a video coming up soon, but it really gives you the basics on how I do my inventory, and it seems to work pretty good for me. That is one area that I think most people can work on. If you don't have an inventory system, start with that. And you can start with just a couple totes, but a very basic system. Okay, I could talk about efficiency for like an entire video. Please share what you need help with. I'll be happy to help anyone out, okay? Next up, I want to talk about Magiscriptor. I know I've been promising that there was a web version coming out, and there have been a few issues switching from app to web version. I have been able to test it a couple times. Unfortunately, sometimes unforeseen, issues come up, and they're working on creating the best experience. I'm hoping, from what I've heard, it should be in the next couple days, and they're going to do their best. Like I said, there's just been some things that weren't perfect, and they're trying to get things, the best experience. So when people start using it, if this is like what you're waiting for, I'm sorry. The app version is always available, and that's the one that I use. So you do have an option. Otherwise, as soon as I know, I will tell you guys. So I'm hoping come, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm putting out a post saying, guess what? Magic Scripture is available on the web. So it's coming. I apologize. Hang tight. Couple more days, I promise. Okay. Next thing, I just heard about another brand entering the resale market. I don't know if you heard about this, but Carhartt is entering the resale market. They have opened another part of their website called Reworked Carhartt. That's like the name of the website. The terms for an item to qualify for them to buy back must meet certain condition requirements. And I do think it's pretty tight restrictions. It has to be less than 10 years old and an original MSRP of $50 or more. So I feel like most of their items are over $50 unless you're getting like a t-shirt or a toque. So yeah, I'm pretty sure most stuff's going to fall into that. Now, the only thing was only certain categories will be accepted, and they have all the details on the website if you want to check it out. I'll drop a link down below as well. I did head over to their website, of course, and looked at a few items because Jeff uses their brand of workwear for work. He works in construction. I will say their prices were quite fair. And if you are competing with Carhartt and you sell a lot of Carhartt, you probably want to check out what they're selling them for, because I felt they were quite fair. And they are in American dollars, and I don't think it's an option in Canada yet to buy, but I don't know, it seemed pretty reasonable actually. The only thing that I found was on the website, there's no pictures of what you're getting. They just have a stock photo, and then they have 3 levels of quality. So there was like new, slightly worn, and broken in. Those are your 3 options, but you don't actually get to see what the item looks like. When you click on each option, it'll give you kind of a rundown of like flaws or possible things you might see. Yeah, we'll see. I wish I lived in the States, because I think I would probably order 1 or 2 pairs for Jeff just to see what the quality is. But I feel like it's probably going to be decent quality. Like, I feel like they're going to be picky, that they're not going to be sending out garbage. I don't know. I guess we'll see. If anyone orders from there, please share. Let us know your experience. I will be dying to know. Or like, send me pictures on Instagram if you order anything. Please keep me in the loop with that one. Okay, we're going to start to get into some of this Poshmark business. I have to address a big issue with Poshmark, and I've been hearing this from both sides in the last week, and I'm going to tell it from both sides, but we're going to start with a buyer experience, and this one kind of hit me hard. So I received a message from a very kind viewer today, and she wrote, she's a grandma in the US and is at the point of leaving Poshmark altogether. She received a notification for a live show and clicked in. Once she was in the show, she realized the price point was higher than what she normally shopped and immediately clicked out of it. Then she received a notification a little bit later that she had won a pair of designer shoes for a couple $100s. She did reach out to the posher and did not respond to her. Poshmark drained her balance and charged the rest to her payment method. She, like I said, had contacted the seller. There was no response. She also contacted Posh, but was told the auction sales are final and binding. She is currently trying to escalate this issue on Posh, but at the point she's receiving a pair of designer shoes and paying a couple $100s for them. First off, my heart broke for her. This sucks. This is Posh's flaw. How many times have we given feedback to Poshmark to fix this bid button? Make it a slide and then a tap. Make it a 2-point system to bid. Other platforms have. I don't know how this is like going on 5 months and we still have this very basic issue that people are complaining about as buyers and sellers. It is literally so easy to bid on an item, and it terrifies me. Honestly, anytime I access the app from my phone, I'm like super careful what I do, because the last thing I want to do is bid onto an item that I don't want to receive. I do believe that Poshmark is aware of this issue. It's a frustration for a lot of people. And as a buyer, I just don't know what to say. I don't know what the advice is right now to give to buyers that are shopping through shows, besides be extremely careful in how you touch your phone. If you're placing it, like anything you're doing, like you're almost better to access live shows from your computer than your phone just because of the fragile app buttons. And I think you have to be prepared to accidentally purchase something because it seems to happen a lot. And I trust this person. I don't think, like, she reached out to me. She's not giving names or anything. She just said this was the instance, and she is just mind blown that and the funny thing is, it was all triggered from a stupid notification that she got, that she was like, hey, what is this, right? Because they're bombarding people with these notifications. But yeah, she was like, in no way would I ever bid on those designer shoes. I wouldn't, that's like beyond what I would buy, right? She doesn't, whatever. Anyways, you guys get what I'm saying. Now, on the seller side of things, I've received multiple messages this week from live show sellers and the amount of canceled sales that they're receiving. And I'm hearing, like, when I was doing it, I would probably get one cancellation a show. I would just cancel it. Yeah, not dealing with a return, not dealing with issues. So you don't want it? Oh, well, don't take it. But that being said, I also had other sales that were supporting the show. So if I only sold 5 items and 2 of my items people wanted to cancel, I'd be a little bit upset as a seller. I've also had people reaching out about buyers making like multiple requests, bundling multiple shows, adding this, can you change this? I don't want this one thing out of the bundle now. And I think a lot of sellers are doing their best to accommodate people, but people have to keep in mind, if you have 20 to 30 buyers and a 50 item show, and you're trying to make accommodations for even like 5 of those people, it gets exhausting. And from what I'm hearing, sellers are getting exhausted. It's burning them out. It's frustrating, and it's just difficult. So the way Posh has it set up is that when you buy from a show, that's what you bought. It doesn't mean like, hey, add more items to your bundle. Hey, do this, that. It's just like, this is what you bought. You bought it in a live show. You got a good deal. Take it and run, you know? And I feel like as sellers, what my advice would be to anyone doing shows is to set your store rules. It's your business. Set the rules of your show, whether bundles apply only in show, no changing after, no cancellations, right? Once a show is done, that sale is done. And if someone wants to add items or create another bundle, they can do that for another shipping charge. The other thing I would do is maybe like create the new bundle and not cancel the old bundle and tell them, hey, you have 2 hours to purchase this new bundle. If you do not, I will be shipping out your live show sales. Like, I don't know. I do think they're binding, and I think buyers are getting really used to sellers being accommodating. But if you are a seller that's doing a lot of shows, this accommodation can take up a lot of time. And yeah, I've talked to 2 people that do quite a few live shows that are struggling with these types of issues. So I don't know. It sucks to have to cancel a sale, especially when people are bidding, and it takes a lot of work to do live shows. So canceled sales are profit lost, especially if other people are bidding. And I think that's the other part where sellers are getting to, is that they're just tired of excuses. They're just like ignoring messages now, and they're like, nope, it's shipped. This is binding. I'm done. So I don't know what the resolve is. I feel like there's always going to be bugs, but I will say I feel like there's a lot more problems in Poshmark live shows than there were in Whatnot live shows. And that's just my own observation. I feel like quite a few sellers I talk to that sell on both platforms actually enjoy Whatnot more than they do Poshmark, and they deal with a lot more poop on Poshmark. And yeah, it's just like a different buyers, I guess. You can get more money sometimes. You do have access to more people than you do Whatnot, but it comes with its own issues, right? So yeah, I don't know what the answer is. The first answer would be that would just really eliminate all these excuses of accidental bidding, which I do think happen sometimes, but I also think there are people that just completely are like, got caught up in the moment and have buyer's remorse. But I think the bid little thing needs to turn into a 2-step. It's a slide and agree kind of thing. So you can't accidentally bid on a show. Okay. as you guys can tell, like I'm just not big on live selling. So I feel bad when I talk about these things because sometimes I feel like my answers are biased. But yeah, I think there's still a lot of kinks in this, and I'm just kind of on the sidelines watching it play out. I still am standing where I stand. I will not be doing live shows right now. I do silent lives where I do sales, but that's the extent of what I'll be able to do. I also wanted to talk about this again because I've received a few messages about it. Ads on Poshmark. I know it's been brought up on socials again lately, and I meant to chat about this in a previous video, but ads on Poshmark, to the best of my knowledge, is not actually Poshmark placing them. So ads are being run on Poshmark, but where they happen is after you place a bid or make a purchase, and there's usually 2 pop-ups that show up. I find they're from pretty reputable companies. The ones that I've seen are, I think it was like Sirius Radio, HelloFresh, and maybe Apple TV, and it was like discounts if you sign up for 3 months or whatever. These are reputable companies that Poshmark is working with. I believe the ads that we're seeing in people's closets or when you're shopping, I know people are like, I've seen fast fashion ads, I've seen, what is it, ThreadUp or whatever, like they've seen different ones. I think those are malware on Chrome. Like I think those are extensions, not even just Chrome, but I think Safari might have it, and there might be another one. There's something going on with like malware that's putting ads into it, because I don't think this is Posh. So your workaround for this is to set up a firewall or use a different search engine. And someone mentioned a search engine, I can't remember what it was, but Firefox was one of them that has really good firewalls and prevents these ads from popping up. Just food for thought. I don't think Poshmark is placing those ads. I actually, funny thing, I did reach out to Poshmark Canada 2 weeks ago to ask if they were placing ads in closets just to confirm it, and they did not even acknowledge me. They didn't even like read my comment, nothing. They don't care. I said this before, I'm not in the cool kids club at Poshmark. I wish sometimes I could get inside information for you guys, but no one talks to me about stuff like that. And at this point, they're not even replying to my messages. So this is the good thing about it. Not being a part of that cool kid club gives me the ability to speak freely my mind and things that I find, right? The information I share with you guys is just open facts, things that I find, things that I read. And I'm not biased by feeling like I owe Posh or that I have to, you know, I'm part of the club, you know, I gotta always promote them. There's nothing bad about them. And I hope you guys can trust that with me, that I try and be as transparent as possible. So I know it may seem like an L that I'm not in the cool club, but I see it as a W in my eyes because I am a free agent. I can say whatever I want. Another update that has unfolded, but that's not really being discussed in North America, thanks to Jade from Fashion Without Trashin'. She had shared this and her and I had a little chat about it. But the Europe-based Open for Vintage, so OFV, has partnered with Poshmark. Through the deal, 100,000 authenticated pre-owned luxury items will be available to the US customers through the OFV closet. So they now have a closet on Poshmark. I'm not 100% sure, but it sounds like they will be shipping from the UK, which kind of gets me heated. I mean, yeah, great. More luxury items are going to be available. But how the heck are we shipping from the UK and I can't ship from Canada to you guys and you can't ship from the US to Canada? Like, make it make sense to me. That part gets me heated, but it's a business move for them, right? Question for you. Do you think that this will have an impact on luxury sellers? I don't really sell luxury items, so I don't know the impact or like what's the scope of this. So I'd love to hear your thoughts if you have read this or what you think. Do you think they're also going to open this up to more countries that perhaps have brands or resale platforms being able to get closets on the app? Like, I think this is like step one of multiple companies coming on and having access to Poshmark's buyers, because right now Poshmark does have a pretty big reach for consumers. I don't blame them. I don't blame other companies wanting to get in. I don't blame, free people. I can't even think of all the brands. It's more common in the States than it is Canada, but all these brands that are coming in and getting closets, I don't blame them. There's a huge reach on Poshmark. And then also on this topic, I saw someone had shared on their IG stories, and I apologize, I did not catch the name or screenshot it, but Poshmark is accepting brand applications to get a closet on Posh. This is open to big and small. So if you have your own boutique brand that you're ordering in and curating, you can apply to have a seller closet. I think this is cool. I don't know where it's going to go. Like, I'm curious to see what size of brands they're going to allow in. Is this going to be like just for big brands? Are they letting in small brands? I don't know. I guess we're going to see. And I think also, if a brand is struggling to manage their resale side of their website or whatever, maybe they're going to start opting into this, because Posh is going to handle advertising for them. Posh does all the back work, and I'm confident that they are negotiating better fees and shipping rates. That is speculation. This is not facts, but I would say we are getting the crappy end of the stick here. I think they probably negotiate with bigger brands and labels and stuff. So yeah, I'm curious if anyone here applied. Have you been accepted? Do you have any details about the program? You're probably not even allowed to share it, but maybe you can share it as an anonymous commenter down below. I would love to hear what you guys think anyways on this topic. We'll see who jumps on board. Okay. As well, I'm going to address this other thing. I heard recently that a seller sold an item on Poshmark in a Poshmark Live event. After the show, they messaged the buyer and said Posh lost the item. Then a week later, they listed the item for a higher price. Yeah, I'm being serious. I think in the show it sold for like $15. Then the buyer liked the item because they saw that the seller relisted it, and the seller's automation sent them an offer. So this buyer reached out and said, hey, are you willing to honor the price? And at that point, the seller actually just hasn't even responded. So I was like shocked when I heard this. And I just want to address this in general. So just because you don't get what you hope for an item in a live show doesn't mean you get to cancel the sale, right? Going into live shows, you are accepting the risk that you may not get what you want for an item. And that's why I always say, don't start your bids lower than what you're willing to accept. This type of stuff really discourages me. And I'm going to be honest with you. There was an item that I sold in one of my live shows. It was something from Retail Arbitrage. I hadn't inventoried it properly and could not find it, but was like leaving for a week. I think it was right before Christmas. So I messaged the buyer and I said, I cannot find this item. I'm going to cancel the sale and I'm sorry, right? And I was just like, I don't know what to do with this. Anyways, totally forgetting that I had multiples of this item, and she popped in my closet a week later and was like, hey, I see you still have these for sale. Would you still sell me one and honor the price? So I reached out to her and I said, absolutely. And I said, I'm going to be honest, I didn't have time to thoroughly go through all my inventory and try and track them down. Let's put the sale through. When I get home, I'm going to go through and try and find it. If I can't find it, then we will cancel this sale. She was cool with it. I was able to find it. I got them properly inventoried and I honored my live show price, right? If you mess up, honor the price. And I think if you don't like dishonest buyers, we can't be dishonest sellers. You know what I mean? If this happened to you or you know someone who this has happened to, please email Posh support. Please report these sellers. Yeah, that's all I got to say. Don't let this happen. If someone is ripping off buyers, report them. If you're a buyer and you've had this happen to you, report them. Okay, it's the only way that we're going to try and deal with these issues. Okay, next topic. I had to address it, but next topic. Here's something fun that I thought we could do. I suck at pronunciation of many brands. And I know you guys comment often in the comments correcting me, and I absolutely love you guys for it because I'm always laughing when I like phonetically say it how you spell it. So yeah, I butcher brands on the regular, but the other day I saw this post on Instagram and it was like a bunch of designer brands and how to actually pronounce them. And I thought, how fun would it be to teach you guys, if you don't know, because maybe you're like me, how to pronounce designer names. And I chose 3 designer names that I completely say wrong. I'm going to say them how I pronounce them, and then we are going to pronounce them the proper way. So the first one is Givenchy. That's how Givenchy. Okay, how we're supposed to pronounce it is Givenchy. Givenchy, and I'm going to spell it phonetically as I say it, Givenchy. I actually feel like I'm in a different tax bracket as I speak these words. My tax bracket has grown. The next one is, oh my gosh, I don't even try on this one. It's like Herve Lager. Herve Lager. And the pronunciation for it is Hervé Leger. Hervé Leger. There we go. Hervé Leger. No, never would have said it that way. Wow. Okay, let's do our last one. You're going to get a laugh on this one because you probably say it right. I feel like most resellers pronounce this one right. And the next one is Moschino. That's how I say it, Moschino. But the proper pronunciation is Moschino. Moschino. Yes, Moschino. Okay. We are all smarter. Givenchy, Hervé Leger, and Moschino. Okay, we now all learned 3 designer brands and how to say them properly. I would love to hear what designer brands do you struggle with to pronounce, because I'm sure I'm in the same boat as you. So please share if there's any that you have a good laugh with. And yeah, I think that's it. That's all we have for this video. I want to end it on a fun note. As we were just talking about designer, I would love to know what has been your biggest sale to date. And no sale is too small to be big, okay? I just want to say, if your biggest sale is $50, shout out your biggest sale. Or if you have sold any designer pieces. So my best sale to date, which is funny enough because I only made like $20 off it, was a Gucci monogram bucket tote, and I paid way too much for it trying to do some online sourcing. I didn't factor in Poshmark's commissions, and yeah, made 20 bucks off it. So even though it was my top sale, I didn't actually make a lot of money, but I think it's cool that I was, you know, trying to experiment into it. I would love to experiment more with designer. Right now, I feel like I don't have the brain capacity to do the research that's required. One day I might dip my toes into that again. What's been your biggest sale to date? What is the brand and how much? What is it? Tell me the details. What is your biggest sale? Okay, guys, on that note, I am heading out of here. I hope you enjoyed today's video. We had lots of things to talk about. If this video has brought value to your reselling business, make sure to give me a thumbs up and tap subscribe on the way out. Thank you for supporting my channel. I am wishing you guys all many sales, lots of magic fingers, and I will see you next time. Bye.